Shalom, Shalom, Shabbat, Adonai. Welcome to the Sixth Exodus program. Thank you for listening. The name of this segment is What is Right? What is Right? I'd like to read to you from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. But before I do, I'd like to talk to you about what is right. There is no need to pretend that we are Hebrew Israelites. And there's also no need for us to pretend how did we end up in a predicament that we're in because of our ancestors. But we will not blame our ancestors. We don't know what their thoughts were or why they did not want to keep God's law and why God put them out of the land and why did their neighbors sold them and was tired of them and got rid of them. Now, what we should do is begin focusing on what is right, not what is right. I mean, not who is right, but what is right. There's a lot of things that's going to fall on us when we go back to the land of our ancestors. A lot is going to be expected of us. And to be able to get the world right, we must get our nation right. In order for our nation to be right, we must get our family right. In order for the family to be right, we must get our perfect personal life right. We must get our heart right with God. And to get our personal life right, our family must be right. I've done a segment a few months ago. Here's a request for customs and courtesies, which we have never had. But we need to do those things quickly. And before we can be able to put things right as far as a nation or the world. But I know God will not leave us undone concerning this area. Now I'd like to read to you the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30. Most of it. Not sure all of it, but I want to read what pertains to us today. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord has driven thee, and thou shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice concerning to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, and all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity, and turn compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord God has scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out unto the uttermost parts of heaven, even from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers, And the Lord thy God will circumcise thy heart and the heart of thy seed to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. And the Lord thy God will make thee plenteous in every work of thine hand, and the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy land, for good. For the Lord will again rejoice over thee for good, and he rejoice over thy fathers. If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and keep his commandments, and his statutes, which are written in the book of this law, and if thou turn unto the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, for this commandment which I command thee this day, it is not hidden from thee, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven, that thou shouldest say, who shall go up to heaven for us, and bring it unto us that we may do it? Neither is it beyond the sea, that thou shouldest say, who shall go over the sea for us, and bring it unto us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very nigh thee, in thy mouth, and in thy heart, that thou mayest do it. Okay, I'm going to end this segment now, but I want to say that the nation, we cannot be right, and the world cannot be right without the nation being right, and the family can't be right unless the nation is right. Well, I started from the top and went down, but you can also go to the top, bottom, and start from the top. The person must be right. His heart must be right to fear God and to love God and to keep his commandments. And then your family, husband, wife, siblings, neighbors must be right. Family must be right. And we haven't been a nation before, but the nation must be right. And when we are right, when the nation Israel is right, then the world can be right. And the world will be at peace. And the world will be in order. And crime will cease. And wickedness will cease. But we, God's people, His chosen, have to be right. And start with yourself first, not anyone else, not your neighbor, not your mom, your dad, or your siblings, or your wife, or whoever you're having problems with. You have to begin with yourself. Get yourself right. Practice on getting yourself right. And if you can help and strengthen your family, help and strengthen your family. And when you do those little things, then the nation will be right, and then the world will fall in suit. Because everything we do, the world would do. Let me tell you what I mean, and you could be a witness to it. Anytime we do something in the world will follow. Uh, you remember when we start wearing platform shoes? The world did it. And when we start wearing afros, the world did it. And braiding our hair, the world did it. When we started wearing baggy jeans, the world did it. When we started rock and roll, the world did it. When we became cowboys, the world did it. When we wore skinny jeans, the world did it. When we wore our pants down below our bottom, the world did it. When we started rapping, the world did it. When we started breakdancing, the world did it. When we started popping and dropping, the world did it. When we started anything that we started, the world they started. So that's the influence we have in the world, subconsciously knowing, not knowing, but that's the kind of influence we have. The music that we sing, the the dance, how we look. Haven't you noticed that people have been getting lip injections, been trying to get toned in their bodies? Women been getting injections in their lips and in their buttocks. They want to look like you, and they follow everything you do. So it's very important for you to have your heart and mind right with God. Now, this is what Deuteronomy chapter 30 says. But I cannot make you do anything. You have to do it yourself. You have to have the fear of God yourself. You have to love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and with all your might and all your strength. I cannot do it for you. No one can do it for you. You have to love the Lord yourself. That's what makes a nation strong. It's not just economy. It's not just having a job or being educated or having a good vocabulary. That's not what it's all about. It's about loving the Lord with all your heart. You remember in the scriptures, they said that the disciples that were with Christ was not very smart men, but the word said, but they had been with Christ. So that's what you need right there. That's what's right, that you've been with Christ. If you be with Christ, that's all you need to carry you. I heard a songwriter say a few years ago, 99 and a half won't do, but actually 99 and a half will do. Because what grace does, it makes up the difference. See, we are not 100%, but grace does help. Wisdom does help, and it'll make 100%. And so we should start planning now. We shouldn't wait till we get to the land of our ancestors and start planning. We should start planning now. And when we get together and when God brings us all together and when we meet, then we can put everything together and it'll come to a mosaic. It'll be a beautiful structure. But I want you to tell you, start planning because we have a country to build for our ancestors and those who are sleeping in the grave, that they are waiting for us. Adam and Eve are waiting for us. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are waiting for us. So you have to get your perspectives right and follow along with this person, four person tier of personal, personal life, family, nation, and world. This is not a new world order. This is how it always have been. That we are God's people and we need to walk upright, fear God, and seek out the righteousness and seek out the holiness. This is what is right. And when we do this, all things will be added unto us. As it is written, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all other things will be added unto you. So that is what's right. So now I'm going to end this segment and seek after that which is right, which is righteousness, the fear of God and pursue holiness. Get yourself together, get your life right, practice righteousness, keep the Sabbath day. Sabbath is Friday sunset until Saturday sunset. It's written, if you love me, keep my commandments. If you love the Lord, keep his commandments. Keep his commandments. He give you 6 days to do everything you need to do. Anything you need to do in 6. And the Sabbath belongs to the Lord. So why don't you give that day? Now you probably want it for yourself because it's the days the heathen use for themselves because they are because of what they like and it's because of what they do. But the day belongs to the Lord. Friday sunset. You start early, not like if you're going on a date. You ain't gonna be late for that date. You're gonna pick that girl up right on time. And so, and if you can, you'll be there early. So if you want to spend time with the Lord, and the Lord knows someone that love Him, you'll be on time. You're gonna start on Saturday. You start Friday sunset and go all the way until Saturday sunset, and you have completed the Sabbath. And eat your proper diet. You know, um, you have to work on yourself. Get rid of the things that you like and turn to God and let God be your lover. If you love Him, you will give up all the things that you like, at least what people say you're supposed to like, and be strong. Both men and women, be strong. Support one another. Support and encourage your brothers, your family. Encourage them. If you see some that are weak, encourage them. Don't chew them out. Don't get on them. Don't blast them. Don't criticize them or ostracize them. Encourage them. Tell them you can make it. We can do this thing together. He's the God of our ancestors. And he prophesied to Adam and Eve that a righteous generation would come and take them out of the cave of treasures. The chosen generation that God has chosen. But I know this, by no means will we fail or let God down, no matter how many people that are against us. As you can see, what has happened all these 400 years, we did not know who we were. We did not know who we were. So now we are knowing who we are. God will not fail us, and we will not fail Him. I'm looking forward to it myself. I I shared with you a few segments ago on what would be. I know that all of our sports will be there, and all of our colleges and universities will be there. All of our military military bases will be there. Only thing to be different is that we'll be on another part of the earth, and our continent will be different. Our neighbors will be different, but everything else we will have, and the Lord will not fail us, and He will be with us on His mountain, on the mountain of God, and we will go to this mountain daily, not because we are charged to do so, because God said, in those days I will put my laws in their minds and in their hearts. So I don't think there'll be requirements as far as what God do, as far as what He tells us. Because I know we're gonna have to serve God a lot. I know that for sure. Because of the people that's gonna be coming to Israel to pray and to worship before God. People gonna need to stay in hotels and in guest houses, and we're going to be at poor people, and we're going to have to facilitate them when they come there to worship before God. And when they leave, we're going to need transportation so they can get back to the land of their nativity. But we're going to be doing this forever. This is the righteous seed of God that God has chosen to do His will and to serve Him. Not only that, but we will have our own musicians, our singers, praise and worship. All those people be going before the mountain of God 24 hours a day, all day. And we're going to need at least, from my estimation, at least 20 to 30,000 priests. What I mean by priests is that people are going to be on the ground level, and then there will be those who will minister to God on the top of His mountain, and those that will be on the ground level, around the base of the mountain, will be able to redirect and direct the people who come to the mountain of God. And there we'll have our workers. They will be working just like we work here. People that work at the airport, people that work at hotels, people that work out in the field, agriculture, be gathering food and cooking food, and people's eating and dining and all these things at the mountain of God. And this is going to be our duty and the covenant that God made with our fathers, and this is what we're going to have to do forever. And so there's no sense of planning anything, but you need to plan. And when we all come together, when God bring all of us together, whether it be in the sky, here on earth, or in the in Jerusalem, or in Israel, in Megiddo, wherever God want us, whenever He bring us all together, and He will make up a covenant with us, and all of us can come together, and then we'll end up going to the land of our fathers. But I want to tell you, start planning now, and don't think that this is going to be half done job. There's not going to be no wandering in the desert for 40 years. It's not going to be any of that. It's not going to be any calf making or idolatry going on. Not this go around. Not this go around. It won't be none of that. Okay, I'm going to end this segment now. But your personal life, right? Get yourself committed with God. Don't wait around and say, God, do this for me. What will you do for God? What will you do for your God, your Creator? What sacrifices can you give Him? Will you make yourself a sacrifice? Say to the Lord, make me a living sacrifice. Consume me. Accept me as a living sacrifice. Make your life a living sacrifice unto the Lord. And let the Lord consume you as a living sacrifice by getting your heart right, by seeking the Lord with all your heart. And when your family see you doing these things, they will cleave to you. And when all the family together, then a nation will be together, and then the world will be together. So this is what is right. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. This is Yeshurun. My name is Yeshurun. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.